I don't care if it's today, tomorrow, 10 years from now. Don't you darken my doorstep. Don't bring no flowers to my grave. All right, what's up, everybody? This is your girl, Miss Sophia the Diva, and I am here to talk about OWN's fabulous show that is directed, curated by my beloved Soror. I won't call you Auntie, but I will call you Soror. And I feel as though you were old enough to even have that moniker, but whatever. Ava DuVernay, we're talking about Queen Sugar. We are in season 4. Episode 3, Where My Body Begins and Stops. Now those lines, albeit a little chopped and screwed, diva style, those were the words that Aunt Vi had to lay on Nova about her aberrant behavior. I mean, it's not steeped in logic, it doesn't make any sense, but Nova chose, in her thinking, to publish a book, Blessing in Blood, to help all families heal from the secrets that are killing them and to stop the pathology of the family, okay, the toxic pathology, okay. Let me use my Ileana Van Zant / psychology / school counseling lingo. Y'all know I went to school and yeah, that's good. Anywho, just let's get some of the main storylines wrapped up. So in last episode, we saw that Micah is a new man and he is taking on the white man who disrespects him. He will not continue to be disrespected. And so what it is that now Sister Kiki not sure she want to deal with his ass. So when he gets to school, she ignores him. But I love how so sweet Micah is to his beloved Sister Kiki. Y'all probably wonder, why does she keep saying Sister Kiki? There was a girl that, she's no longer a girl now, she's a grown-ass woman, but when I was at my church, at a church in LA I used to attend, there was a girl named Kiki. I was called Sister Kiki, and she was an amazing individual and had vocals that just, like, you would never know that they came from someone like this. Oh my God, she's so quiet and introverted, seemingly. No, the girl could sing her ass off. But anyways, I digress. But Kiki basically was telling him, I just don't like this new you. And he talking about, when my mama raised me better than that. He says, we're all going to change and evolve, but I can promise you this, I will never disrespect you. So they seem to have made up. However, what Micah does not realize is that after school, when they get back to the house, he gets a death threat. As you know, Micah is now also an activist fighting against institutionalized racism and trying to, well, actually he did. I think they were successful in stopping the building of a prison in St. Joe. And this is when he has to come to terms with his mom and realize that his mom is not a bad person. Because in the morning before going to school, he was reading the advanced copy of Blessing in Blood. And his mom, she was like, Micah, and she looked and she saw he was reading the book. And she was like, oh, shit. You could tell that, Charlie was like, this is not going to go over well. And so what happened is that she said, well, maybe after school we can talk about it. But instead, what the conversation ended up being is that Micah had to come to a revelation that my mother does love me and she does care about me. Because, of course, apparently he got to the part where she paid off that Galooty chick. But we all know at the time that she did the payoff, she was doing it because she wanted to protect her family and never let Micah know that his father disrespected his mother, But in the end, Davis's secrets caught up with him anyway because he was out here going in raw and making babies and shit. So, but he was like, you paid her off? She was like, I did to protect you. It comes full circle when he finds out that he's been getting death threats. And she's like, yeah, I sent you to Europe for the summer when the death threats started. And I also hired a security team you never knew anything about. Here's all the letters. And she laid them out because he had been getting death threats day after day after day. And she was like, let me protect you. Because at first he was getting upset. She was like, let me fix it. And she was like, why is it I can't seem to do anything right by you? And she was already having issues anyways because she had just come back from confronting, what's his name? What's the Boudreaux Jacob Boudreaux, who still is sweet on her, and you ain't never gonna get it, Jacob. It's just not gonna happen for you. And she wants to know, first of all, why my phone calls being ignored. Your mama said she was going to look out for me, and now she's nowhere to be found. I mean, because she came in there, honey, she was like, wait a minute, I got a seat at the table, but I don't have a seat at the table. So how the hell is it that you're able to have a seat at the table when you don't have enough shares? We find out that his uncle has signed over his shares. I guess he's like a proxy or whatever, so he has to be at the meetings anyway. So it's still in the family, honey. And so he texts her and says, meet me outside in 15 minutes, right? Because there's all these consultants and ears around. She finds out that his mom is in D.C. on business or whatever, right? So he's telling her, you know, you don't realize how lucky you are. You don't realize how hard it is to be a Landry and a Boudreaux, part of the Landry Boudreaux family. He done started crying and shit. You don't understand. Like, you have a family that loves you. And with me, you know, it's always about pleasing them. And this is the price of my privilege. I wear it like a cross. And she was like, but you still privileged. I was like, exactly, Jacob. But maybe you are miserable. But maybe you can change the course of your family. Maybe you can be different. You can have a family. That's one of the things I will never understand about us as human beings. And I was thinking about this over the weekend. I was like, so many of us spend all of our lives trying to please everyone and be somebody that we don't want to be because someone else wants us to be a certain way. And I'm just like, I don't get it. I'm not tracking. I'm just not. My thing is with Jacob, if you want love and you want a family, go get it. But it ain't going to be with Charlotte because she don't like your snake ass. And she don't like your snake ass family. But I want to just encourage everyone to just basically do you, be you. Who cares what your mom and dad says? And sometimes you just going to have to sever ties in order to be happy. That's all I'm going to say. If you want to be happy, truly happy, sever ties and be who you want to be. Take some money along with you if you come from money and privilege. You know, just kind of stash some off to the side and then just break out and leave. Family we don't have a choice in who we are related to, but we do have a choice in how they treat us and how we choose to deal with them. We learned that Nova's book is really gaining traction. She got a big write-up in one of the major newspapers, and they were like, it's all about connecting with people. I was like, connecting, it's more like destroying families. Her family in particular, it's very destructive. They even have like I forgot what it's called, but two families had read an advanced copy of the book, and they were talking about how, oh my God, your book has really helped me be able to talk to my mom about my problems. How did you overcome, the issues that you had with your sister? And I'm just looking like, girl, she ain't overcome. She didn't tell them she was putting this in the book until, she had to realize that, oh shit, these manuscripts, it's a problem for my family. Because quite frankly, it was a lie for her to even say talking about. Basically, Nova said, once I got over worrying about what people think, that's when I did it. The problem is that it's cool for you to write about you. But what was not cool, without their consent and without their knowledge, was you to write a book about them and the conversations that you have. They're supposed to be private. As a matter of fact, I think the key to stopping the print of this book, as I'm sitting here thinking about it right now, is the fact that there was an NDA for that woman to go away. And because Nova was privy to it, she has broken that NDA. Now all hell can break loose for Charlie, because now we know that the Galudi woman got paid to be quiet. Really, Nova? You didn't think about shit. Then on top of that, Ralph Angel has to come full frontal with Darla and let her know that she has written about Blue not being his biological child. And Darla is just like all of us, like, why would she do that? What was she thinking? She wasn't thinking about you all. She was thinking about her own self-gratification. And that's the problem with a lot of people. You didn't think about the children that you were going to hurt and affect. Nova just out here just flinging in the wind. Just, it's like wrong answer, tiny dancer. Like, what the hell is wrong with you, Nova? Then on top of that, Darla was like, did she write about me too? Ralph Angel didn't even read past that chapter, but yes, dear heart, she did write about you too. She told all your business. And here, that's the other thing. I'm like, you didn't think about how it would affect somebody. What if Darla has a meltdown and decides to go back to using again? Like, you didn't think about that. We should confront everything. No, if you have problems with your family, like I have issues with my family, what I did was I went to therapy. And I talked to my therapist one-on-one about my issues, and we worked through them, and I learned how to deal with certain family members, or not deal with them at all. But I'm just saying, Nova, girl, oh Lord. Ralph Angel, at one point during the episode, ends up having a conversation with Prosper, and Prosper was like, oh shit. Mr. Prosper was like, well, hell, do I have to worry about anything? No, I don't think so. Hopefully you didn't have a recorded conversation with her about the daddy, although I think it was Prosper that found her father at the time that her mother had died and he was considering suicide. I believe that's the backstory. But Mr. Prosper basically had to sit with Ralph Angel and tell him that it's okay if you're not biological, okay? Anybody can be a father, but not everybody can be a daddy. Blue's daddy. Now the main farm had and the got sick, Lord Jesus, so we're going to be behind on getting the harvest done. But Ralph Angel ends up having to call his sister and tell her this, but she has her little friend, her special friend Romero. I think he's a doctor or a nurse or something. And that's when it comes up that for our immigrant workers, illegal aliens, they need some health care too, because Ignacio got very sick. They never disclosed what it was, but he fell ill, but he's going to be up. He's on the mend and should be fine. So Charlie now has another calling where on the Mill property, she can actually build like a little secret clinic and, get the people looked at while, they working or whatever, have some basic health care for them. As for Nova with Blue, I don't know why. I just go back to that and I revisit, like, you never thought how Blue would feel. So now Darla and Ralph Angel probably in the upcoming episode are probably going to set Blue down and talk to him about the fact that now Ralph Angel is not your daddy. I also saw in the preview, skipping very much ahead, that it looks like someone is now coming up on the scene now claiming to be Blue's father. That's what it looked like in the previews. I don't know. Also, other storylines that are going on. Ralph Angel and his new boo. I still have not looked for her name or whatever, but I think she's a beautiful woman. She's a public defender, and she thinks a lot like me. While they're out having lunch together, she was like, I know it's harvest time. I didn't think you were going to come, because she grew up on a farm herself, so she understands Ralph Angel's job. And Ralph Angel goes on to confess to her that, he has some skeletons in his past, and he just wants to go ahead and disclose that to her. And she says, oh, I know. I already looked you up, because, me being a single woman with a child, I have to, be diligent about it. And I was like, girl, you worse than me, because when I used to have access to LexisNexis, I would go on there and look up people. Google is a great resource, but I mean, LexisNexis, when I had access, let me see what he about. Do he have a criminal record? Like, how many people has he hacked up? But she said, one thing I learned about being a public defender, same thing, people are not always what their file says that they are. Like, yes, you may have committed a crime, but that doesn't necessarily make you a bad person. So I think Ralph Angel has found him a new girl. I don't know what happened. I see her still on, we still buddies on Twitter, but the other girl, the Asian girl that he was talking to, the Vietnamese lady, I guess that romance just completely, he decided they should just go their separate ways, because, he was working at their, what was it, the fish market or the docks or whatever for them. And just to back up with Micah and Charlie, at one point in the episode, I felt like maybe Charlie should let Micah go live with his daddy, because he's so disrespectful to her. But I think the revelation about the death threats kind of changed him. And I still feel as though he should apologize to his mama for his disrespectful attitude and behavior towards her. I don't like that. I don't like disrespectful children. You got to check that, nip it in the bud. Okay? Now, let's get into the big catastrophe that's awaiting Aunt Vi. Now, when the episode opened, we opened with Aunt Vi getting ready to go to work, and she has read Nova's book. Okay, and she is pissed. To I called her 3 times. She answered. She must not know me, honey. I would get in my ride and ride on down. I ain't scared of going to the ninth ward. I was like, come through, Aunt Vi. Let her know. Because Nova hadn't answered her phone calls. That's because Nova had been busy gallivanting, doing news, op-ed pieces and all this stuff and interviews and stuff about a book that may or may not ever see the light of day. Hollywood looking all scared, like he walking on eggshells. He was like, well, you ain't said nothing, so, you know, how you feeling, Vi? Basically, Vi ready to whoop some ass, okay? And Nova ain't too grown and too old for her to whoop her ass, okay? Because she was out of line, out of order for publishing all these things about the entire family, including whatever skeletons Aunt Vi has. And later on, we find out the lengths and disrespectful ways that Nova will go in order just to get a story. Really? And it's your family. Your Aunt Vi always, she was like a second mom to you. Like, really? Now, when they get down to the diner, to Aunt Vi's diner, there's a man in a yellow shirt that shows up, honey. And he's so polite. She says, you know, she sends Aunt Vi is cleaning the counter, you know, just, you know, getting ready to set the tone of the day. You know, for when customers come in, she's like, just sit right there. Just sit down, baby, and I'll be right with you. And he starts talking and takes his hat off, and you could tell by the shift in the atmosphere and Aunt Vi's body that she knew right off who it was. And she was so shocked. It was like seeing a ghost, and she passed out. Now, this fool done caught her, and he talking about, yeah, I just, you know, I had to see how you were doing. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, Hollywood and the other chick comes running out. They get her a towel. She comes through. Jimmy Dale scoots out, exits stage left. Like the snake he is, he just slithers off the scene. Finally, Aunt Vi was like, just take me home, you know. She gets home. He's like, you haven't said anything. You know, what's going on with you? And finally, she confesses that it was Jimmy Dale. And that's when Hollywood goes into the protective mode that we want any man we're with to be in. When it comes to us ladies. Hollywood calls back down to the diner. He tells the girl that's working there, do you remember the guy? She was like, yeah, the one with the beard, yellow shirt. He says, let me know if he comes back. And of course he's going to come back, okay? And so Vi was like, now, Hollywood, don't you do anything that, you know, could get you in trouble? And so that call does come. Hollywood does go to the diner, and he confronts Jimmy Dale. He basically told him, with your goofy ass, you need to get the fuck on before you catch these hands. He was like, you know her brother, Ernest Bordelon? He was like, yeah, I can catch the tail end of that ass whooping he gave you. I was like, oh, shit. And then Jimmy did talk, well, you know, I don't want to be anywhere where I'm not welcome. I was like, you knew you weren't welcome. Did you honestly think she was going to welcome you with open arms? And so, because I think Jimmy Dale, though, I'm not a fighter. I can beat up a woman, but I can't beat up a man. I don't want to catch them hands. Hollywood gets back to the house after this confrontation, and he tells Vi, you know, I followed him. He got on the freeway and left. I was like, that Negro ain't going nowhere. He'll be right back. He going to bust a U-turn, cross over that grassy knoll, that grassy median, and come right on back into town. And sure enough, flash forward in this episode, we see that he comes and darkens the doorsteps of Aunt Vi, and Aunt Vi goes into like this fugue state, like she's entranced. Like, he was like, well, you know, I just want us to sit down and talk like adults. I see you still in my house. You ain't changed much, you know. You ain't changed much in the house. I love Vi's cooking. And so she was like, it's my house. But it was like she almost couldn't even gather herself to really articulate, because he really did put a hurting on her. Because we see in a scene before all of this that she's sitting there, and it's a hospital bracelet. I forgot what it's called, but you know what I'm trying to say. And her name is Violet Dale. And you show the date. And so, you know, it's like over 30-some years ago when he put a beating on her. And I was like, Aunt Vi, don't be scared. You know, he can't hurt you anymore. Things are changed. And one of the things I couldn't believe when Aunt Vi, he was like, I just want to come in and talk. She let him in. And I know all of us, and I was like, no. Don't open the door. Why did you let him in, Vi? Why did you let him in? I was like, damn, he put a spell on you. Nova, thankfully, comes running up when he was trying to talk to her. And so she was like, what are you doing here, Jimmy Dale? He was like, well, hi, Nova. It's good to see you again. And Vi is looking like, again, what does that mean? So at one point he goes, well, you know, Vi, I just came by to see how the years had done you. And other than the little pooch, and that's when he reached out to try to touch her. And then her and Nova like started hitting on him until she was like, don't you touch my Aunt Vi, and blah, blah, blah. And we found out he wouldn't be here touching her if it wasn't for you. Hollywood showed up and he was like, I told you what was going to happen. And he just started beating the dog shit out of Jimmy Dale and Violet. And Nova had to pull him off because they were like, please don't kill him. We don't need you to be catching the case out here. And then Jimmy Dale got up and was like, well, you know, I just came by to apologize, but I ain't sorry about a damn thing. He talking about, you are what you are. He talking about, you always were just Ernest's sassy sister. But you a hot piece of ass, though. Should have known better than to trying to make you a wife. And I was like, oh my God, just a hot piece to tell her. No, she was more like a punching bag for you from what we all understand with Unvised. Get your ass out of here, folks. Hollywood had to put some hands on you. And then he was trying to talk about how Hollywood earlier, he was like, that's just that he is a boy. Ain't no man gonna be calling themselves Hollywood. How you know that's not the name his mom and daddy gave him? Meanwhile, in the house, after all has settled and Hollywood is getting bandaged up by Vi, that's when Nova's standing there like the kid that done something wrong and they know they're about to get their ass beat. Okay, so I did go see Jimmy Dale, right? And but I didn't know he was gonna come back to say Joe and stir up trouble. You know, I just wanted to get his point of view. You know, I wanted to see if there was some redemption after all these years. I was like, a leopard don't change his spots. It don't. You went and dug up a dark past for your aunt. And now, because of that, your aunt told you don't darken her doorstep no more. She don't want to see you no more. Don't even come to her grave and bring her flowers. Fuck you, get out. Now, I didn't say that, but that I'm pretty sure that's how she was feeling. I would feel that way too. And she just crying. I'm like, you will now be an outcast from your family that has stood by you and supported you. I hope in that moment when Aunt Vi was giving you the business that you figured out right quick, right fast. The chaos, disorder, and the divisiveness, or the great divide, that you brought to this family. I mean, girl, what were you thinking? You weren't. You couldn't have been. And as one of my friends said on here, she was like, the whole thing with Nova gives me a headache. I don't like Nova right now. Selfish for fame. Is that what it is? Is that what the character Nova in Queen Sugar is really chasing, is fame and fortune? Did she always feel like she was in the shadows of her lighter skin, half black, half white sister? Because I think Charlie's half black. Or because you were, I think she must be in the middle then. Oh, I thought Charlie was in the middle. Either way, you know, and then of course, because your brother is a male, I mean, did you feel like, what? Like, what was it? But anyways, comment down below. Let me know what y'all thought about this episode. And let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation about people telling all the family secrets. I understand wanting to heal from hurt. But at the same time, some things need to remain buried. It was not Nova's right to give up the paternity of her nephew. It was not for her to go digging Aunt Vi's past because you awoke a dragon that she would like to have stayed dead. Like, I don't get it. I hope that Charlie and Romero make it. I hope that Micah sees the errors of his ways and kind of understands how his mom tried to protect him. I hope Nova has a moment of redemption in the things that she did. But I have a feeling Charlie is going to stop the publication of the book. The only thing that disturbs me is the fact that there are advanced copies out there floating amongst so many. And you know how we do. We will pass a hard copy on to other people before we buy it. But either way, that's all I've got for you on Queen Sugar. Again, if this is your first time here on my channel, please be sure to subscribe. If you enjoy what you're listening to, my reviews and my point of view, please be sure to share with your friends and family. Encourage them to subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. I am Miss Sophia the Diva, and I want you all to stay fabulous.